They are the four dogs of Temujin. They have foreheads of brass, jaws like scissors. Their heads are iron, their whipping tails swords. In the day of battle, they devour enemy flesh. Behold, they are now unleashed, and they slobber at the mouth with glee. These four dogs are Jebe, Kublai, Jelmi, and Subutai. To paraphrase A History of the Mongols, wherever Temujin would point his finger, his dogs of war would ferociously attack. Among the four dogs of Genghis, there was one who stood more cunning and terrifying than the others, one whose name would strike fear in all of Asia and Europe, and go on to conquer more land than any other general before him. But to the disbelief of many, the young boy was not even a Mongol. Subutai was born in 1175 and belonged to the Uriankai tribe, sometimes incorrectly referred to as the Forest Mongols. The Uriankai significantly differed from their counterparts. While the Mongols traversed the great steppes on horseback, the Uriankai relied on sledges for transportation. Unlike the Mongols, renowned for their mastery of weaponry, the Uriankai gained a reputation for their exceptional metalwork. Annually, with the melting of snow, the Mongols and the Uriankai would meet for trade. The young boy was not well placed to become a formidable Mongol general. However, destiny would make certain that he did. In the course of these annual gatherings, Subutai's life would change forever. Subutai's father gave his firstborn son, Jelme, to a Mongol outlaw called Temujin. 16 years later, Temujin would assume a new name, Genghis Khan. Jelme's alliance with Temujin commenced around 1187, and within 3 years, he extended an invitation to his younger brother. At the age of 14, Subutai, according to tradition, was expected to follow in his father's footsteps. However, in 1190, he left his clan and the dense forests of his ancestors behind. He ventured south, seeking a different path. In 1197, Subutai was ready for his first assignment. Tasked with helping Temujin in confronting long-standing rivals the Merkit tribe, Subutai adopted a cunning approach. Posing as a deserter, he infiltrated the Merkit tribe, offering intelligence about Temujin's movements. The unsuspecting Merkit fell prey to Subutai's deception and were led into an ambush. This initial mission marked a triumph for Subutai, igniting his appetite for blood. Genghis Khan decided to promote his generals based on skill rather than brotherhood. This revolutionary policy paved the way for Subutai, a non-Mongol, to ascend to prominence through years of relentless warfare. Subutai's early adulthood was spent uniting the Mongols, reaching its peak in 1206, with Temujin being proclaimed Mongolia's universal ruler, or Genghis Khan. In 1211, Genghis Khan devised a strategic surprise attack against the Chinese Jin armies. Subutai's role was to lead an army of 30,000 towards Jin territory from the north. When the Jin forces amassed, Genghis Khan would attack with a larger force from the west, aiming to decimate the Jin army. However, the Jin forces unexpectedly resisted, refusing to succumb to the Mongol onslaught. In a surprising turn, Subutai's army suddenly vanished from the field, prompting speculation about his departure. Contrary to expectations, Subutai had swiftly ridden south, aggressively maneuvering his forces northward to encircle and launch a surprise attack on the Jin from behind. The Jin, caught off guard, struggled to comprehend Subutai's lightning speed tactics, and before they could react, he led thousands of Mongols in a devastating surprise assault. In 1214, the Jin were driven out of their capital of modern-day Beijing, and their city burned to the ground. In 1218, Subutai traveled westwards to defeat the Merkit, but during the trek back to Mongolia, the ruler of the vast Central Asian Khwarezm Empire, Muhammad II, intercepted the Mongols in Kazakhstan. Although Subutai informed the Shah Muhammad that they had no dispute with them, the Shah proceeded to initiate combat. The Mongols were outnumbered but managed to withstand the Shah's army, and Subutai instructed his forces to move on. This encounter left the Shah Muhammad horrified at the sheer power of the Mongol horde in open battle. Sent as part of a reconnaissance mission in 1221. Subutai's army reached the Christian kingdom of Georgia, where they annihilated the Georgian knights. They pushed west and reached Crimea by 1223, where they defeated the nomadic Cumans. The Cuman leader had managed to escape and ran to Prince Mstislav of Galish. The Prince of Galish was part of the legendary Empire of Kievan Rus, the predecessor of modern Russia, Ukraine, and Belarus. The prince formed a Russian army to answer the barbaric Mongols, which were at his doorstep. Subutai seemed to realize that he made a mistake and his forces fell back from the vast Slavic army. For 9 days, the great princes of Kievan Rus chased the Mongols east over the Kalka River. Finally, in late May, Prince Mstislav forced a battle and attacked the Mongol rearguard and annihilated them. As the panicked Mongols retreated over the river, the prince followed, determined to finish these savages off once and for all. At this point, Subutai bared his teeth with a terrifying smile, as this was exactly what he wanted the prince to do. The Russian armies were trapped between the river behind them and the demon dog of war in front of them. The Mongols stopped their retreat, turned around and charged at the Russian forces, the earth shaking beneath their steeds. Over 90% of the Rus force was massacred, including 40,000 soldiers and 6 princes. Subutai captured the Prince of Kiev, who suffered the worst fate of all. Subutai ordered that he be placed beneath the floorboards on top of which the Mongols held their victory party. Despite the carnage that the Mongols had unleashed, they were only an army of a mere 20,000. Subutai knew this was far too small for his conquest, so he turned his men around and rode home. That night, Europe could breathe a sigh of relief as the unstoppable horde receded back to Mongolia. However, although Subutai might have slunk back into the darkness, he would not forget those who tried to fight him, for he would soon return and unleash a hell unlike that which they had ever seen before.